I took another trip to see the first land that I purchased several months ago on ruralvacantland.com, a little plot in the Ozarks. I ended up buying another little piece of land pretty close, about a mile away in the same area. So if you look on ruralvacantland.com, Zillow, or LandWatch or something like that, you'll find some other pieces of land. And I'm pretty sure there's more land out there in the Ozarks. I did see some for sale signs for people independently selling their land that you won't find on any websites. So you could just drive around these towns and keep your eyes open for these landowners that independently sell their land. I really wasn't that picky about it because of what I have planned, and especially at the price of $450 for 0.12 acres. Although I saw it on Google Maps, nothing is comparable to visiting in person. I wanted to get some footage so you could experience this along with me. Honestly, I was a little nervous about buying it at first. I went through some basic decision making before I bought it. This is only going to be a camp station for seasonal visiting, so even land that is prone to tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, or even floods, I can adapt to it and live with it. I thought at least I needed to know the easements and some building codes, some of the topography, some possible hazards, and the climate. And when I looked on Google Maps, I noticed that there are a few other people doing the same things there. So I felt like, what I had planned versus the cost, I was really okay with those other risks. This land is a little more private than the one in Arizona. As with Missouri and Arkansas, you find places off the beaten path. It takes some effort to get to, and there isn't a lot of jobs around, so it doesn't work for a lot of people. But you may have seen people get creative and adapt to odd conditions. It takes an inspired person to see potential where nobody else sees it.
So here I am in Arkansas on one of my properties that I bought recently on ruralvacantland.com, and just getting my first impressions here. I got here last night in the dark, so I wasn't able to do any kind of videotaping. So this is actually my first impression, right along with you, as I step out of my tent. And my good buddy over there from Backwaters and Backroads channel, we have like a similar interest in general trying to make a life for ourselves in the system that we live in.
He also made a video on this trip. You could continue on the road with him with an alternative ending and follow his other adventures on shanty boats, scooters, campers, and other things. And you might even learn a little bit about where we're going in our future and adapt for the changes that are coming.
But I just wanted to give you kind of an impression of this. You can see it kind of slopes up here and has very, very thick trees, and these are taller than I imagined. But I just noticed that there's a lot of plants here growing, and so you can plant stuff, and there are some rocks mixed in, but do you like fruit trees, berry bushes? I don't know. We haven't run into anybody walking by or anything yet. I didn't see this in the dark, this clearing here. We could have just walked right in here. It would have been easier, and I just noticed that there's like a little, probably a power. So I noticed there is power from those things, and then there's power lines up there. I don't know, maybe almost a quarter mile or something. I could see from the paved road up there.
I am pointing out the resources like electricity here, but that's not what I'm thinking long term.
The metals
As I have mentioned in other videos, I'm not only trying to find the resources to carve a life for myself and others, but find alternatives in every other aspect of our lives that is suppressed or undiscovered. It makes me relax a little bit knowing that no matter what happens, if batteries go out, the grid goes down, I have a way to make batteries. These ideas won't be in the public eye. We won't be taught it in our schools. We have to find it and figure it out on our own. And I would say 90% of it out there is useless information. And I put a switch on it. That's pretty awesome. I didn't expect that, actually. That is amazing. It's pretty awesome. Lights it up like a party. Oh, that's more than I thought, actually. So many regular people like you and me are discovering these ideas, and they are out there everywhere, and it is amazing. So when you find your land out there, you'll know that there's better alternatives with actual green energy, being more independent and more at one with God and the earth. I'm going to go to my other little plot south of here, about a mile, and it'll be similar to this. It'll be slightly different, but we'll get an idea of the little area around this as well. This is a good experience for me, and I was very surprised about what I saw. It was a lot better than I was thinking. Remember that patience is key in finding what you want in your land. It takes time to develop an idea of where you want and where you want to go and how you want to use it. So if you're a first-time buyer of land, hopefully my experience in this video will help you. So these are things I wanted to get footage of: the road conditions, the trees, how tall they were, what type of trees, and what the ground is like. It looks pretty rocky, and there's a little more of a slope than I imagined, but it's still pretty flat. And I couldn't really tell on the Google Maps what these roads were like, because it looked like on the maps that they were like grown over and you wouldn't be able to drive anything through there. And I was able to drive through with my little Civic here, but 4x4 certainly helps. I mean, it is a little wet, so you slip. I was slipping with my tires a little bit, but I noticed that there are a few more people than I realized that were building here on their own little property. It doesn't show that on Google Maps either, but so this is what this road is like, just rocky, and I think people have put gravel down. Probably this guy. It looks like he's in the middle of building something. There's a generator and a small house there. So he's doing the exact thing that I was thinking, actually. So it doesn't look like he's there, but he's doing a tiny house. So picture this. This is probably exactly what I was imagining to do on my piece of property here. So this is kind of a future glimpse of the idea. So I guess I'm not the only one with the idea, but it's good to know that people are doing this stuff. Like, they're making it work, they're making it happen. It's good to know. This answers a lot of questions, actually, because you can see what he's building and what he's what they're allowed to build here. And I've seen this a couple times around where they have almost like a shed turned into a tiny house. So that is good to know. That's cool. And up the road I saw another one just kind of like that. So this is where it gets a little muddy and murky. This would require a 4x4 chainsaw to cut through that, but this is a lot better than I was thinking. I thought that I wasn't going to be able to get anything down here. So as far as where my piece of land is, the land slopes just a little bit, but it's not that big of a deal. Kind of a rocky ground and pretty thick trees.
a lot of big ones, and well, not tons of big ones, but there's a lot of little ones kind of growing there. A lot of bush and vine type things. So really cool though. I'm glad I'd rather have too many trees to cut down and work with than not enough, because this means shade. It means you could work with the wood. So a lot of rocks like that and a lot of growth going on. It's pretty good though. I love it. Kind of hidden back here, and you could tell that there are other like-minded people around, so you could imagine that you would have a lot in common and to talk about. I'm hoping. I haven't really met anybody around here yet. It's pretty quiet. It seems like the off season for this area, and the footage that I got before showed that the town is pretty quiet. It looks like a seasonal touristy place, and but this little area is perfect if you want a little camp spot that you don't have to pay for. This is a lot better than I was imagining, honestly. A ton better. And I'm glad I was able to get some footage and the information that I did. And I was able to just get a feel for the area and the lake and the atmosphere, or the climate. It seems like in the Ozarks, typically, my friend Brenton from Backwaters and Back Roads, he said that there's a lot of little creek stuff like this around the Ozarks. So you got like plenty of little springs and runoff water type stuff. It's been kind of wet, but it's in middle of February, so you'd expect that. And my friend was saying that the spring usually comes around the end of February. It starts getting warmer. It's February 10th, and it's probably around 38 degrees or so. So I just have a light jacket on. Last night was cool. I mean, but it was not overwhelming when I was camping in my tent. So and Brenton was saying that there's spring that comes around starting around the end of February, and definitely into March it starts springing up like spring, and I'm like, sold. That's great. I love that. It's a lot better than Iowa or anywhere up north like that, where especially Minnesota up towards Canada, the winters last really long and people have a hard time dealing with depression and all that, dealing with that. But pretty cool. Hopefully that was enough information. It was for me. And we'll just look into the future, see what kind of hopeful things that we could discover and talk about, make some changes in our lives, and make a life for yourself. So that was Kyle's cabin. I don't know him, but it feels like I do. Man, Kyle is doing exactly what I want to do, and I was able to see what his cabin was like. Oh, it's like we have a private property barricade here. I've seen that a couple times, but anyway, we'll go by Kyle's cabin again. I know it's hard to remember in our troubled lives, but remember that Jesus Christ has a plan for his people, and he has a land of promise for you.